China has quietly pulled ahead in the global energy race. Not with oil, not with gas, but with sunlight and wind. While other nations debated policies, Beijing built the world's largest clean energy empire. In 2025, China controls 80% of global solar panel production. It manufactures 60% of the world's electric vehicles every single year. Chinese companies supply 70% of rare earths powering your phones and Teslas. This isn't just about technology, this is about raw geopolitical influence. The battleground isn't oil fields anymore, it's renewable energy dominance. And right now Beijing is years ahead while others are still catching up. Let's uncover how China became the undisputed leader in green energy. China surpassed 200 gigawatts of total renewable capacity in early 2025. That's more than Europe and the US combined. Solar panels, wind turbines and lithium batteries are China's secret strategic weapons. Forget oil pipelines, now the key battlefield is wind farms and solar farms. While the US debates tariffs, China installs 50 gigawatts of solar per quarter. 50 gigawatts is enough to power 45 million homes in 6 months. In 2024, China produced 80% of all global photovoltaic modules. In comparison, the US produced less than 5%. China builds 16,000 wind turbines per year across Inner Mongolia and Gansu. Wind speeds average 8 meters per second on those high plateau sites. This is enough energy to run 20 million electric vehicles. By 2023, China also led the world in electric vehicle production at 6 million units. That's roughly 60% of global EV output last year. Key Chinese companies are behind this growth. LONGi produced 100 gigawatts of solar cells in 2024 alone. Goldwind manufactures 8 gigawatts of wind turbines annually. CATL supplies 60% of global EV battery capacity. And BYD sells 1 million EVs per quarter inside China. You might say this is just business, but it is power politics. Energy equals geopolitical leverage and China is mastering it. They have a master plan called Made in China 2025 launched in 2015. That roadmap targets dominance in 10 key industries by 2030. Green technology was one of the 4 core priority areas in that plan. And it paid off fast. Inner Mongolia solar desert spans 10,000 hectares by 2022. That's 100 square kilometers of shimmering photovoltaic panels. Energy travels on ultra-high voltage lines called UHVDC. Those lines move 12 gigawatts across 3,000 kilometers from remote farms to Beijing. The US has only one high-voltage line transporting 3 gigawatts across 800 kilometers. China's UHV network began in 2009 and grew to 40,000 kilometers by 2023. That's nearly the circumference of Earth's Tropic of Cancer. But why is China doing this so fast? Partly climate change, but mostly strategy and market share. They want independence from oil markets and fossil fuel price swings. Renewables are clean freedom while coal means exposure and volatility. Simultaneously, China exports cheap solar panels to Africa's 20 countries. China's Belt and Road Green Energy Push funded 250 utility-scale renewable projects by 2024. Those projects total 150 gigawatts in combined capacity across Asia and Africa. This is like building 150 conventional power plants overnight. Think of Belt and Road as China's global energy highway. In 2024, China invested $50 billion in overseas green infrastructure. That's more than the annual GDP of 30 small nations. Meanwhile, at COP30 in Dubai in November 2025, China arrived as climate kingmaker. They pledged $1 billion climate financing to developing nations. For the first time, most of the global south looked to Beijing, not Washington. Why? Beijing brings money, tech and infrastructure at lightning speed. While the West argues Beijing just builds. Let's talk rare earths critical to green tech. China mines 70% of global rare earth elements. They refine 90% of rare earth magnets used in EV motors and turbines. Without those magnets, solar and wind tech fail. Guess where the US and Europe get these magnets? Almost entirely from China. China also controls 80% of lithium refining capacity globally as of 2024, and 65% of cobalt supply chain sourced from Congo through Chinese firms. Tesla depends on CATL and Ganfeng for battery cells. Even Apple counts on Chinese minerals for iPhone assembly. In short, Beijing became the hardware store of clean energy revolution. But it's not perfect for Beijing. They face overcapacity in solar panel production, and blackouts from grid instability in 2023 affected 30 million people in Sichuan. Some provinces produced 20% more energy than they could use. Pushback is growing too. The EU opened anti-dumping cases in 2024 over Chinese solar subsidies. India imposed 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs starting 2025. The US passed the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022, investing $369 billion domestically. But China still leads the race by scale and integration. They don't just make panels, they build UHV grids and giant EV ecosystems. They don't just mine lithium, they drive it into batteries and cars. When one country controls every link, it shapes the future. That raises uncomfortable questions for the West. What happens when China controls future energy routes and access? Imagine a world where Beijing flips the switch on global energy independence. Some call this green diplomacy, others call green dominance. Either way, it's reshaping global geopolitics fast. Even Saudi Arabia announced renewable investments with Chinese firms in 2024. This signals a shift beyond petrodollars to solar dollars. Countries reliant on oil now fear being left behind. Meanwhile, China bets on being the clean energy banker of the 21st century. Here's another twist few notice. China's UHV grids are dual-use infrastructure for smart cities and defense. They also give China data and logistics sovereignty over power flows. This turns energy leadership into strategic national security tool. Beijing already used rare earth export restrictions in 2010 and 2019 as trade weapons. Combine that with total clean energy control. This is raw geopolitical hard power. And they built this infrastructure in less than 15 years. Compare that to US grid upgrade still debated in Capitol Hill. Beijing thinks in decades, Washington thinks in election cycles. That difference changes everything. So what does this mean for the rest of the world? It means countries face a choice between US regulatory ideals and China's solar hardware. Developing nations pick whoever offers cheaper, faster solutions. Right now, China wins that contest nearly every time. Analysts speak of a green Cold War but with solar panels instead of nukes. This fight transcends ideology, it's infrastructure control. The superpower powering the planet controls the planet. And China is closer than ever. But here's the wild card. Breakthroughs like fusion small modular reactors or quantum grid control could flip everything. The race is far from over, but China has the lead. Will the world let Beijing set the rules? Or will innovation spark a comeback no one expects? Either way, this energy battle will define the 21st century. Energy is no longer just lights, it's who decides the lights stay on. China understood that first and moved aggressively. Now the rest of the world scrambles to catch up. If you enjoyed this energy geopolitics deep dive, give this video a like. Subscribe now to explore tomorrow's global power plays next.